Today, we also confer an honorary degree, Adrianne Pieczonka, in acknowledgement of her artistic professional achievements. She is a role model for new and upcoming artists, and we are very proud to have her as our alumna and ambassador for Western. I am delighted to welcome her to this convocation. To present our distinguished candidate, I now call upon Betty Ann Yonker, the right Faculty of Music.
Thank you. We're excited. Adrianne Pieczonka. Adrianne Pieczonka has described herself as a hard-working, no-nonsense soprano who as a child was interested in sports, took piano and dance lessons, and loved camping and climbing trees. Throughout her school-aged years, she actively sought opportunities to be on stage, enjoying every moment of being in the spotlight. Carol Burnett was her absolute idol. She tells the story of writing Carol Burnett and asking her, "How can I become like you?" Musicians that caught her attention as a teenager included Julie Andrews, Liza Minnelli, Beverly Sills, Billy Joel, and Supertramp. Those influences, coupled with repertoire learned through formal tuition, propelled Ms. Pieczonka forward, and she began to flourish and win regional competitions at a young age. Her potential was being recognized and supported. As an undergraduate at Western, she studied vocal performance with Alvin Reimer and Martin Chambers. Upon completion of her undergraduate studies, Ms. Pieczonka traveled up the road on the 401 to attend the University of Toronto's Opera Division, where she studied with Mary Morrison, who is here today, along with Ms. Pieczonka's family. At the young age of 25, she was given a Distinguished Graduate Award and received a Canada Council grant to study in London with Vera Rosa. From her early experiences with the Canadian Opera Company course to professional debuts, Ms. Pieczonka has been recognized as one of the most successful sopranos on the international opera scene, one who has a phenomenal talent as reflected through exemplary musicianship and performances that resound with beauty and integrity. Her voice has been described as beautiful, expressive, flexible, velvet-trimmed, lustrous a sound as anyone could imagine, creamy tone and lustrous color, and one that touches the heart, a voice that is backed up by ample reserves of steely resolve. Under the direction of international conductors such as James Levine, Riccardo Muti, Zubin Mehta, Sir Neville Marriner, the late Richard Bradshaw, and the late Sir George Schulte on stages across Europe, North America, and Asia, her portrayal and interpretations of various roles in opera have been hailed as significant, wonderful, ravishing, and fascinating. Of specific note are her interpretations of Strauss, Wagner's strong and tragic women, and Puccini's Tosca, which some of us actually got to see last winter in Toronto. It's fabulous. To gain insights about her active career, Ms. Pieczonka's 2012-13 season includes a reprise of the role of Senta in Torino, and Tosca and Desdemona in Berlin. She makes her role debut as Madame Lidon in Dialogue des Carmélites at the Canadian Opera Company in Toronto and performs Verdi's Requiem in Hamburg. A highlight during her 2013 summer is a performance as Chrysothemis in a new production of Electra at the Aix-en-Provence Festival, directed by Patrice Chéreau and conducted by Esa-Pekka Salonen. Ms. Pieczonka's international presence on opera and recital stages is strongly felt, and her reputation as a committed and disciplined artist is well known. Performances captured in CDs have resulted in Juno nominations and awards. Her successes have led to her appointment as an officer of the Order of Canada. Today, we honor her because of her contributions as a consummate artist. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and in the name of the Senate, I ask you to confirm the degree of Doctor of Music, honoris causa, upon Adrianne Pieczonka, concert and recital artist and an inspirational opera singer.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree Doctors of Music, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Pieczonka. All assembled here today, I would now like to invite our newest alumni, Dr. Pieczonka, to address Convocation.
Mr. Chancellor, President Chakma, graduates, parents, and honored guests. I'd like to begin by conveying my congratulations to all of today's graduands. Well done. I'm very honored and humbled to receive this honorary doctorate of music from Western. I graduated with an honors Bachelor of Music in voice performance in 1985, but it seems like yesterday that I was here myself as a first-year student, full of hope, enthusiasm, and excitement. The saying is true, time flies. I realize that many of today's graduates may think they have little in common with me, an opera singer who majored in singing. I imagine, however, that as dentistry, business, or humanities students, you may have shared some of the same desires, challenges, and setbacks as I did as a music major. When I arrived at Western 31 years ago, I didn't know what my exact career path would be. I didn't know I was destined to be a professional opera singer, that I had the voice and the other skills to allow me to earn my living on the stage. I was 18 when I arrived here. I knew I loved to sing and perform, but I also wanted to widen my perspective and immerse myself in other aspects of music, such as history, theory, and languages. Year by year, step by step, my path became clear to me. I'm a firm believer in things happening for a reason, and that one should follow these life signs, or at the very least, not resist them. By the time I graduated in 1985, my yearbook quote was, "I will be a famous opera singer." And I kind of cringe at the cockiness of the statement, but I also can admire the ambition and pluck it took to say it. All of you graduates here today have demonstrated these and other attributes: courage, dedication, discipline, ambition. Most of you came here as hopeful first-year students, perhaps unsure of where you'd finally end up. And now that you are graduating, many of you still may have these questions. Well, what now? Which path do I take? Times are tough. There's huge competition for jobs. How will I succeed? I can't answer these questions, but what I can predict is that the road ahead will be bumpy at times. You most certainly will make mistakes, but live to regret them. As the saying goes, to err is human, and I firmly believe that through struggles and setbacks, we grow and improve, not only in our careers, but as human beings. I'd like to encourage you to live in the moment. Savor the simple pleasures in life. I've traveled the globe, performing on many of the world's in many of the world's capital cities, but what really comforts and nourishes me is staying in touch with my family, having a good meal with friends, reading a good book, and taking a walk in a forest or by a lake. I've been singing professionally since I was 25, and you might think that it would get easier with time and practice, that I might be able to cruise through performances on autopilot. It does not get easier. In fact, it gets more challenging to maintain a high level of excellence, but I do strive to achieve it year after year. You're only as good as your last performance is something I'm sure you've all heard said, but you're also only as good as your last bypass surgery, or your last root canal, or your last successful takeover bid. There is a Groundhog Day quality to life, and the key is not to take anything for granted. Don't rest on your laurels. Recently, a good friend of mine told me about the concept of the beginner's mind. It's an ancient Zen Buddhist practice which suggests we should approach each day as if we were beginners. To adopt an expert or elitist attitude robs us of the process and the pleasure of actually doing the work. This struck a real chord with me, and I use this image every day to remind myself compassionately that I don't have all the answers, nor can I sing a perfect performance each and every time. I don't mind thinking of myself as a beginner. I hope you won't mind me thinking of you as beginners either. Beginnings are full of promise. I wish each and every one of you much success and happiness in life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adrianne, for your inspiring and thoughtful words this morning. It is really wonderful to have you back on stage at Western so that we can recognize your tremendous achievements. We are indeed very proud to call you one of our own. Your success in the highly competitive world of opera is outstanding. We applaud your talent, your commitment, and your incredible discipline. You are an inspiration to our students, and we are incredibly proud to count you among our notable and outstanding alumni. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in congratulating our newest honorary Doctor of Music, Adrianne Pieczonka.